welcome to another BL3 video. Today we'll be looking at the Cutsman. This SMG is very interesting, like a lot of the weapons in Borderlands. But this one, its projectiles aren't just regular projectiles. It's also a melee 1 SMG, so you gotta keep in mind this weapon has a bit of a charge up time. But the thing that makes this weapon interesting, I find, is the fact that when you shoot a shot, right after you get that initial charge up going, the projectile will split into two, and there'll almost be like this electric tether between the two. And as the projectile travels outwards, this tether will, reach a certain max length. And it seems like when it does, anything that gets caught in between that electric tether, right, is severely damaged by the elements. So if you have, I don't know if it comes in non-elemental, but as I'm showing you guys right here on screen, it comes in a variety of elements. But we'll be testing out the incendiary version, just because you'll find this very interesting. But this is what the gun originally looks like. The other two Cutsman I just showed you were using a skin called Nebula. I got the Nebula skin from Farming Grave Ward, so if you want, a world drop location for it, there you go. But yeah, the Cutsman's very, very good SMG in my opinion. It's one of those guns kind of like the Flacker, where you got to use it in certain situations, as you're about to see. So you shoot right, the projectile split into two, and then you see the electric tether in between. I don't know, like, up close, it has its moments where it doesn't do really good, right? So you almost got to be like kind of close to mid-range combat with this weapon. But here we are, we're going to test it on Megamind, Mayhem Mode 3. I'll show you guys the modifiers right here. And yeah, I'll show the modifiers later on in the video when we go to test this weapon at the proving grounds, because I find sometimes those, like I said, those Mayhem Mode modifiers really screw you over when you're trying to showcase a gun. So here we go. We're using a fire-based weapon against a shield-based opponent, right? And I know Gigamind isn't the toughest boss out there, but this is Mayhem Mode 3, right? So they're all a lot tougher. And as you can see, this weapon is just melting his shields. As long as you can get the enemies caught in between, that electric tether. I'm not exactly sure what the red flavor text is supposed to mean on the gun. I honestly don't. But all I know is the main special unique feature about this weapon is, as you see on screen, is the projectiles. And when it comes to enemies with just regular health bars, right, the red health bar, as you just saw, it melts through them. And we got the smart gun drop, which is supposed to be, it's his unique drop basically, if you want one of those. But yeah, the Cutsman, I find, is not a bad SMG at all. It can be great on any of the characters, in my opinion. It's a cool looking SMG. You don't really need to reskin it like I did, but I just thought I'd try something different on it. So let's go over to the proving grounds. Here we are at the proving grounds. Now, as you're going to see in this combat, I have a little bit of trouble because at one point 3 anointed enemies show up and they give me a bit of a hard time. Also, like I said, I'll show you guys the Mayhem Mode modifiers, and that's another reason why the gun doesn't do as good as it could, I believe, personally. Because one of the Mayhem Mode one of the Mayhem Mode modifiers I ended up getting this time around when testing this weapon was minus 50% damage. And I know I could have just, save quit and came back in and tried until I got one that was good, right? But I figure instead of, I'll just leave it up to chance and what I get is what I get. If the gun performs really, really decent or really good, right, on Mayhem Mode 3, that's just obviously a clear indicator that even with those debuffs working against the weapon, right, it can do good. So, like I said, right now, all gun damage is kind of debuffed by 50%, right? So I don't know if that's gonna specifically affect this gun, to be honest, because it's using elemental damage, right? And I honestly don't think the Cutsman comes and any other damage. That's also another nice thing about this SMG. As you just saw, it comes with the bladed attachment pretty much every time. It's a guaranteed part, I noticed. You'll never get one without it. If you do, then it's probably modded, like literally someone modded it that way, hacked the game and modded it, you know, type deal. But yeah, overall, I like this SMG. It's a really nice choice, like I said, for any Vault Hunter. Long as you get in the rhythm of how this weapon works, right? Because as you see, I'm trying to keep my distance at a certain point, right? So that electric tether can, you know, at least get around the enemies. And it seems even if they have a shield, they're still taking a good amount of damage. Like the anointed guys, they're pretty tough, right? Generally all around, it doesn't matter which kind you end up fighting. They're usually a pain in the ass. Like this guy right here, for example, right? So we'll shoot him, and once those, you know, that tether starts to pass through him, if I could have hit that on his crit spot, like got the tether to go right through his head, basically, yeah, it probably would have did a lot better. I really think it would have. And also, you know, like I said, it's a gun that requires a little bit of practice. Like, see that guy on my left there? He's not gonna... He's a bit too close, you know? It's not really gonna do a whole lot. So, overall, like, this gun, it really is not a bad pick. Like, it's a good choice, you know? Like I said. I got this as a world drop from the Grave Ward, if you're wondering where to get one for yourself. That's why I have 3 of them. So let me show you this. Right here, the enemies are tougher, they're outputting more damage, right? But also, that's why I didn't use any skills or anything, because those are buffed. I just wanted to do the gun damage, right? Like, the overall gun's performance. And as you can see, I don't know if that one modifier is affecting the gun, but if it is, well, there you go. You know, even if the gun is getting debuffed a little, it could still do some decent damage output. And keep in mind, this is just like on my farming character. Flak is my farming character basically, and I'm working on the other ones. But yeah, overall, I really like this gun. It has its, you know, definite uses, especially if I switch out to one of the other ones. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this another episode of the list from the list of legendaries, and I will continue farming to bring more variety of weaponry and legendary gear for you to check out. I hope you have a great day out there.